Hello, my UPSC aspirants. Now only two passes remain of the 2014. So let's attempt. In two passes, we have to attempt, of course, 8 questions. So let's see. The comprehension saying that the Himalayan ecosystem is highly vulnerable nowadays to damage. Yes, both due to the geological reason and on the account of due to the region, yes, of the stress that caused by the increased pressure of the population, exploitation of natural resources. Here. And the other, of course, the related challenges, these especially may be, of course, exacerbated due to the impacts of the climate change. Exacerbated is the clearly, of course, these aspects may be exacerbated. खराब करना due to yes, the impact of the climate change. So it is possible that the climate change made visible impacts on the Himalayan ecosystem through the increase the temperature. So especially, my dear, we are trying to talk only Himalayan ecosystems, especially that's what kind of the changing is going to be in the Himalayan region areas and how it's impacting, of course, on the population and of course through the country. So definitely alter precipitation, the pattern, the episode of the drought and the biotic influence. Now see, episode of the drought and the biotic influences. These wouldn't only impacts the bird, the sustain of the indigenous the community in a upland, but also the life, of course, downstream, the dweller across the country and the beyond. Therefore, there is an urgent need for, of course, the giving the special attentions to the systems in the Himalayas, the ecosystem. These would require the conscious effort for considering all the represented with the ecosystem. So further need for the emphasize, further it's need to be emphasized that the endemic with restricted distributions and the most of the often the with is specialized the habitat the requirement are the amongst the most vulnerable the element in this respect to the Himalaya, the biodiversity in the hottest for the wave. Reason damaging the biodiversity is vulnerable to the climate change and and threat include the possible the loss of the genetic resources and especially the habitat and of course concomitantly decrease in the ecosystem serves therefore the conservation of concomitantly means the species habitat and concomitantly a decrease in the ecosystem means of course decreasing the ecosystem service. Therefore, the conservation of endemic the elements in the represented in the ecosystem, the habitat in the zone, the great significance, while of course drawing the conservation of the plan for the reason. So the my dearest last paragraph of the towards the achieving towards the achieving to the above. So we will have to see the towards the content for the conservation the approach. Yes, the which include, of course, the paradigm of landscape. Level interconnectivity between the protected area system and the concept, and walking the shift the forms and the species that habitat is the protected area system. The concept in the walking the shifted from the the species the habitat the focus to an inclusive growth on the spanning the biogeographical range, so that of course the natural adjustment to the change to change the climate change can proceeds without the being destructive. So now, consider the following distribution. The corner passes that adverse the impacts of the climate change on an ecosystem. That can be permanent disappearance of the sum of its flora and fauna. So the permanent disappearance of the ecosystem of itself. See, the first the questions see according to the passes that adverse the impact on the climate change or the ecosystem can be permanent disappearance of the sum fauna and flora. No, that is not the permanent disappearance, and the permanent disappearance of the years of ecosystem itself. No, that is not also. So we will select here D. 55 is going to be D, of course. Next, which of the following the statement will best imply the need to the shift toward the contemporary the conservation approach? Is the exploitation of the natural resources at the stage on the Himalaya ecosystem? No, that is the climate change alter the precipitation, the pattern cause, of course, episode of the drought and the biotic interference. It has been clearly mentioned. The B is going to be, of course. So where is my C? B is going to the why is the because here the question is asking that best statement. Yeah, a statement best implies that need to the shift toward the contemporary the conservation approach. Definitely the climate change, out of the precipitation, the pattern, the cause, the episode of the drought and the biotic interference, and that can be. While the Himalaya biosphere should be enabled to the adopt the climate change smoothly, this can be best approach. Here, best approach. What will be best approach in here? Means not the especially impacts on the asking here, so definitely we will go for the D, my dears. The way it shows that because the Himalaya biogeographical region should be enabled to the adapt to the change. Yes, the change is smoothly. That's kind of course, definitely. D is going to be the correction at the 56. Of course, what it shows the because no, I'm sorry, the dears, because here see impactions. See, it implies that need to shift the toward the contemporary the conservation. So definitely the climate, the change, alter perception, the pattern, the cause, the episode of the drought, the biotic interference. Of course, we will go here. B is going to be the appropriate. Why it shows if you see, if you go through the comprehensions, and then definitely you will get the explanations on that situation. Has clearly they state that in the climate is the climate change how the adverse affected also the Himalaya ecosystem by altering the temperature and the change in the precipitations, the pattern leading to the drought, and the consequently death of the several the species of the animal and the plants, including the humans. So definitely it can be the concern here. So B is going to be, of course, the 56 is going to be. Now next. What is the most important? So they can be, of course, what are the most important of the masses? They can be by the passes, the Indonesian, the character and the feature of the Himalayan because no the conservation effort should be emphasized in the biological ranges. They rather on the not that is absolutely wrong. The climate change that had adverse impacts on the Himalaya ecosystem. See, without a Himalaya ecosystem, often the life of the community of all, and that is not going to be, of course. So, what is it going to be? See, D is wrong here. Now, the climate change that reduces the impact on the Himalaya ecosystem. Conservation efforts should be influenced by, of course, biogeographical ranges, then on the some of the species or the habitat. And B is absolutely here because the way, of course, the conservation efforts should be emphasized on the of course the biogeographical ranges rather than on the some of the species or the habitat. In the 57 is going to be the way it shows because the most important the masses the conveyed the author is of course summed up in the last of the few line of the passes. It has been declared the mentioned as Asia to the shift in the attention from the merely of the species they have to focus to entire biogeographical ranges, meaning all the plants and the animal including the human too. Yes, the humans show that the of course climatic adjustments that can be taken the care the more effectively. Sure, that is of course that is why of course the will relax here. Last few lines and read the careful. Definitely you will be easy to that mention that. Now 58 number with reference to the past is the following generation have the mentioned that to the maintain the natural ecosystem exploitation of natural resources should be completely avoided. To maintain natural resources, no, that is not the mentioned because assumptions have the merit, not the only anthropogenic, but the only nature of course, but also the natural region can of course anthropogenic of course. What is going to be the meaning of synthesis? Human activity due to not only the human activity but also natural the region can adversely affect the ecosystem. Absolutely correct. So 2 is absolutely sure that we will have eliminated the 3 totally. Now why is it? Because the loss of the endemic diversely lead to the extinction of the ecosystem. That is not going to be a, so definitely here we will go for even the 2 is going to be correct. So if the only 2 is the correct, so we have the choice here the B. Now next in the passage, it's your last of the passage of the 2014. So let's read the carefully, my dear. I'm also exhausted in the reading of the comprehensions. Now see, it is often the forgotten because of course there has been others. If you are seriously UPSC aspirant, then definitely you are totally hardworking and determined. Of course. So now it is often the forgotten. It's often the forgotten that the globalization not only about the policy on the international economy, of course the relationship and transaction, but yes, has equally to do with the domestic the policy of the nation. The policy change is necessitated by meeting the of course the internationally set the condition by WTO. Of course, that is no need to tell you what is WTO. It's the gut of course of the free trade and of course investment flow. Obviously the facts in domestic the producer and he is the investor, but in the basic philosophy of globalization, let's see, then underlying the globalization emphasized absolute the freedom to the market to determine the price and yes the production, the price and the production, distribution, the pattern, the views, the government intervention as the process that create distortion and as we know the bring the efficiency. So government intervention should be reduced. Definitely it's immense because the government intervention it has been clearly as the process that are the created distortion and the bring in the efficiency. So thus is the public here, thus in the public enterprises that has to be the privatized through disinvestment. Yes, disinvestment and the sales sector and the activities. Yes, the hitherto the hands reserved for the public sector happens to be the open to the private sector, and this logic extends to social service like education and health, and any restriction on the adjustment in workforce. By the way, the retransmit of the work and better reflex means chatai of the employee. Of course, chatiya karna means you have to choose that which employee is going to be. Of course, the better gives them the best in the performance and the working the efficiency in your company should definitely retransmit. A worker, that's authority should be of the company, of course, and should also be removed and exist. Exist should be, of course, the mandate is used by the removing the and the restriction on the closure and the employments and the wax and the employments on the wax, and the should be the government by the free the play of the market and the force as here's the end measure to the regulate them can discourage the investment and also the create, of course, the efficiency in production all above. Sorry, above all in line with overall the philosophy of the reduction the role of the state fiscal. Of course, the fiscal reforms should be then taken to have generally lower the level of the taxation and the government expenditures should be kept to the minimum to the avoided by principle of the fiscal prudence. Fiscal prudence means that a fiscal intelligence, of course, by canceling that what can be the principle of the fiscal prudence. That's you have to be also, of course. So expenditure should be kept to minimum to avoided by the principle of the fiscal prudence. All these are the policies action on the domestic front and are not directly related to core items of the globalization agenda. Yes, namely the free international the flow of the goods and finance. So now the question of the passes and the globalization government intervention are the views as the purpose relating to definitely distortion and deficiencies in the government economy. It has been declared the mention here. Where is the mention? Of course, now where is going to be distortion? Let's see. Yes, clear the mention that see government intervention as the, of course, the portion that the create distortion and the bringing the efficiency. So the government has the reduced role there. Next question, so often this is the passes. According to the passes here, basic the philosophy of this the passes, yeah, as the philosophy of the globalization is too. Because the passage is sanctioned as how will the enhancement of the globalization of the free trading. So definitely is going to be here the correct answer that to give the absolute the freedom to market to determine the price, the production and the employment. Of course, there should be also designation of the company. Yes, there should be free authority to retransmit of the worker. That is also the given the statement in the comprehensions. Now, next question 61 is going to say the passage which in the following is the necessary for the ensuring the globalization, the privatization, the public expansion, the privatization of the public enterprise. Of course, definitely we have to enhancement, expansion of the public of the enhancement of the public, enhancement of the policy of the public the expenditure. No, two is definitely because the government has to reduce its role. So definitely role. So definitely reducing the role of the government in that, and definitely that is going to be, of course, giving the good liberty of the globalization for the trading. So definitely the matter has the will eliminate of the two. If you eliminate of the two, now you have the choice of the C and A. Show the free free the play of the market, the force to determine the direction and the employment. That is definitely it has been clearly mentioned that retransment also has been mentioned there. So retransment of the workers' diamond. So the privatization of the social service like education, health, and that should be also the responsibility of course the private sector, and that is of course after liberalization, the globalization, the privatization in India also, of course, what's the role of the private school nowadays, you know that, and what the guardian prefer to, the shift of the children, in which school, in the private or the public sector, you know the very well. So definitely, of course, the privatization of the social service like the education, the wealth, and the clear dimension in the comprehension. Sure, we will have, of course, yes, option C. So this is all about the comprehension which has been asked by UPSC in 2014. General comprehension simultaneously, of course, the English comprehension.